working.
That's where you need the stand. You can't do it with that.
If you want to get the stand, get the stand. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. That's the only thing. It's such a little love. Well, we've had rain, we've had wind, then we had more rain, then we had even more wind. Now it's stopped raining, but it's cold. I've been given instructions to stick the camera on the stand. Apologies for a second. There we go. There's instructions from the boss. I don't know if anyone's there. If anyone's there, hello. Yes, all that cold air from the front is now coming in. And tonight, we had stew again. Tastes even better the next day. I don't know about you. Things like curries, stews, soups. Next day, they're even better. The wife had a big cup of stew, and I had a bowl of stew. She doesn't like a lot of liquid in her stew, so I think she ends up with more than me. I'm not sure. I'll have to check into it. Hello, Jazz. But the children of the cornbread. Dun, dun, dun.
Front door key in my pocket. I've got the front door key in my pocket.
Why have you got the front door key?
So we didn't get locked out when Em went.
Okay. Are we done with the front key story?
Oh, got to share.
Oh, boy.
Tell people what we're doing in our lives.
Well, I'll put the camera on you. You can explain the story of the cornbread that didn't happen. There we go, live around the world. International celebrity, Mr. Angel.
I just got to do my kisses for everybody.
Yeah, so we're walking through the supermarket, and
Why?
one of the guys said, "Oh, cornflour is the same as cornmeal." I said, "No, it's not." And there was no cornmeal. I did find some actually online. There's a wholesaler in Australia who's willing to send me half a pound of cornmeal for $18. I said no, but I mean, even though it's similar, it's not the same. People would no. I was going to say it's similar polenta, but it's not the same as cornmeal.
No, I tried to explain that to them. I know it's the same beginning process, but then he sort of made me doubt myself when he said, "Oh, it's just what the Americans call it, cornmeal."
No, it's not. Cornflour is different.
I know. And then I realised, well, I've always used cornflour to thicken a gravy and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, cornmeal is used on all different levels.
Cornmeal,
around the world, you've got a lot of cornmeal is used for animal feed. That's where a long time ago in America, I imagine, g'day VMAC, it would have taken place where poor people had access to cornmeal that was being fed, and they used it and made cornbread. If the story's different, let me know, but that's how I see it unfolding over the years.
Yeah, so I knew about cornflour, but like I said, the guy just made me doubt myself when he said, "Oh no, it's the same." Americans, you just heard him, I think, in the video. Americans call it different name. Well, obviously it's a different colour. It's a different consistency.
Cornflour's processed a lot more.
So,
I'm pretty sure they add bleaches to it to get the white.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a breadcrumb there, mate.
Yeah, but I can't make them. I'll find the cornmeal. The cornflour I bought won't go to waste.
I use it all the time.
The buttermilk's got a good use-by date on it.
I use cornflour all the time.
Yeah, but the buttermilk, so I've got everything.
Yeah,
and
buttermilk's good for 4 weeks or something.
And the bacon's not going to go to waste.
I'll look after the bacon.
But so somebody else will have to start off Awesome's venture. I would have done the cornbread over the weekend, but yeah, it's been put on hold.
I'm going to do the crispy shrimp. Bubba, give me some shrimp and we'll make some crispy shrimp. I make crispy honey sesame crunchy shrimp
I mean, I can always make porridge.
Yes, you
I'll
can.
get VMAX recipe.
Blueberry grunt sounds good to me. Is that a breakfast grunt? I heard something similar many years ago.
What is that, VMAX? Asking about what's NS.
I didn't even see the
Oh,
comment, so
VMAX said yesterday Awesome was asking about NS recipe, and I forgot all about blueberry.
Northern
Oh,
States?
it's a dessert. Forgot
Northern
about
States.
all blueberry one. Okay, I'll have to know
We love
about.
blueberry.
I have to know about that one, VMAX. Please explain, as one of our politicians became famous for saying.
Yeah.
Please explain.
But if you did watch the video, you saw it was me doing all the work, pushing the trolley around.
Yep.
Mystic Angel floating down
Come
different
on.
aisles, picking up things.
You want to be
We
a bit
didn't
more
need.
truthful. You enjoy doing it. Plus, you
Yeah. Hmm.
hold it because why? Helps you.
I enjoy shopping, I must admit. But I went there to get crusty bread. And I got crusty bread.
Yeah, because we're having a stew, but I told you.
And then a whole shopping trolley full of other stuff.
Oh, I've got twisties.
Yes, essential twisties. I mean, let's be honest, food is a magnificent subject.
Yes.
I make
Used
blueberry
To
muffins.
be a poor man's dessert that has been elevated to a chef status. Oh. Okay.
I do like making blueberry muffins.
See, yeah, I'd have to see what dessert you're talking about. I like blueberries on their own, which reminds me I haven't had one today. I like blueberries and bananas and strawberries on pavlova,
Good old pavlova.
but I do not like strawberry jam.
I do.
I like fruit of the forest jam. I
like
love
marmalade. Like
I
marmalade.
love mangoes, but I don't like mango juice.
Yeah, things like, I mean, if you want to be really cheapo, you just go to the cake aisle of any supermarket and they always have cheap cake mixes. All you need to do is grab one of them and then cut up,
Yeah.
make your batter and throw your blueberries and throw your bananas. And I like fresh fruit in my muffins. So my blueberry muffins are usually made with a very cheap cake mix, a basic cake mix. And I'll make about 10 out of a packet and they're yum.
I like chocolate chip muffins.
Well, I was talking about this the other night. Not many people make desserts anymore.
With wild blueberries.
Yep. Yeah, the commercial blueberries are much bigger
So what's in it,
than
VMAX?
the wild ones. Or blueberries.
Oh, I know blueberries. What else is in it, VMAX? That's like that's what we didn't try when we were in England, and I wanted to.
What, Eton mess?
Yes,
Oh, I can make it for you. It's easy.
I know, but I wanted it while we were in the country that it's known for.
Eton mess came about because someone stuffed up a dessert. You know that,
Yeah,
don't you?
yeah. See, I grew up not with a lot of desserts. Our family didn't have. Well, I don't know. Trying to think how often we had dessert. Mum would make homemade, proper baked cheesecakes.
Pancakes.
Well, sometimes we had pancakes for dinner with
Yeah.
sugar and
Yeah.
lemon, cinnamon on it. But as far as actual desserts like the puddings and all that, we didn't have a lot of them. You grew up more with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, to be honest, it supplemented a lot of food by having suet puddings, rice puddings that filled you up because there wasn't a great deal of food going around when I was a kid. I just hear the violin playing now.
Yes.
No, it was true. Ate a lot of wild food. Ate pheasant, rabbit, a lot of fish, which the kids used to catch. We used to catch it. Mum used to cook it up.
Yeah, but that was when you moved to Australia, not
No,
when
no,
you were
no,
in
no.
England.
No, that was in England.
Oh yeah, the pheasant and all that, but the fish was more in Australia.
No, I fished a lot when I was in Australia, but I used to catch fish when I was a kid in the UK.
Yeah.
We'd even ice fish in the UK. A lot thinner ice than it is in North America, but definitely crack a hole in there and you'd catch fish. Every now and then I'd fall in.
Tons of berries cooked down with some sugar and a kind of biscuit crust. The chefs bake it in a dish. It was first one in a cast iron over a fire. Actually, over a fire in a cast iron sounds nice. Sounds better than in the oven.
Yeah. This is some really simple desserts, really. Obviously things like rice pudding, anything to do with flour, like pancakes or pikelets, we call them in Australia. Small pancakes, if you like.
Pikelets are different to pancakes.
Yeah, they're quite thick.
And they're sweeter.
Yeah. Waffles were never big in Australia, even though I know a chain tried to start up in our state. They had about 4 or 5 stores. They, big waffles, maple syrup, ice cream, cream, all that, fruit, but it just didn't last. People just stopped going.
Oh, I can hear the rain again. So good.
It's raining, do, 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 do. Raining on my heart. Yes, it's raining here. Haven't had a lot of rain. Like if you talk about how much do we have, rained heavy for about 10 minutes, didn't it? But probably no more than 1/4 of an inch. Been a bit disappointing that way, but it is raining. But now that the big clouds of rain have come through and behind it is the cold air, that's what we're copying. So, and this is where we can get storms. Little clusters of cells behind in the cold air can cause havoc. But I suppose my favourite, the simplistic one, is rice pudding. You can have it with custard, you can have it with jam, you can have it with ice cream. Probably the most popular in Australia is rice cream. In other words, your rice cooked with cream and egg mixed in, and then it's like a real thick, sort of gooey. It's supposed to be a cold week there, Jazz. It's definitely going to be a cool week here. Our maximums are going to be 16 or 15. And that's cooled for us. Just seems steady, doesn't it? Yeah, oh, I make a wicked bread and butter pudding. Seriously do. I love it.
See, I don't like that sort of stuff.
But you eat it when I cook it.
Yeah, I'm once, and if it's
Fine, I'll have the bloody thing to myself. The beauty about bread and butter pudding, you can literally cook a small one or big ones, and depends how many people want it.
yeah,
Obviously from now on I'll be cooking a small one.
I think it's the wobbliness of it. I feel the egg isn't cooked properly. Because you know what I'm like with eggs? Damn fussy.
Well, it's set. That's what you need, an egg and bread pudding. If you go any further, it's baked,
Well, that's
and then it's just rock hard.
that'd do me. See, I like wheat bix pudding.
Or definitely pavlova. That goes straight to my heart, pavlova.
Yeah,
Christmas time is what it reminds you of.
That's your favourite dessert, really, isn't it? That and
Rice
lemon
pudding.
meringue pie.
No, not real big on lemon meringue. It's
I like
okay.
cheesecake is my favourite.
Yeah, you eat a lot of cheesecake actually, between you and your daughter. You eat loads, don't you?
Yep.
And I like making apple crumble. Apple crumble with flour, raw sugar and butter. That's a real apple crumble. You know, when you tap the spoon on top of it, it makes like a ding, ding, ding. Because everything's caramelised and crunchy. There's only one secret to making a good apple crumble. Don't cook your apples down too far initially. So they're half cooked, because when you put them in the oven, you put your crumble on top, it keeps cooking.
Yes, I love that cheesecake.
Hello, Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll have to go and find that song now and play it because I started singing it.
Stream lover, Darren.
Darren who?
I forget for the moment. It's like cranberries. The only thing that Aussies eat cranberries is a dry one, you know, like dried fruit. That's how people eat cranberries in Australia.
Yeah, they're not real sort of adventurous with cranberries
No,
here, are they?
it's okay as a juice, but it's quite strong.
Oh yeah, I do like cranberry. Actually, I've never had a cranberry cheesecake. I will have to investigate.
Yeah, I reckon that if you got a cranberry syrup and made a yogurt, that would be nice. Of course, you can just buy a can of cranberry juice and reduce it down to a syrup if you wanted to.
Right, against the police. Now, when we're finished chatting here, I will have to go and have some ice cream.
Yes, we've got these cones and some nice yummy
No,
ice
I'll have
cream.
mine.
Your what ice cream? Oh, you mean your whole container?
Yes.
So we're not sharing?
Well, I asked you if you wanted one.
Do you know what? If I ever went out to a restaurant, a cafe, to have a cake, one of my favourite cakes, and I'm sure it's the same with most of you guys there, is Black Forest cake with a nice coffee. I can't remember the last time I did it, but I do enjoy that.
Oh, my mum used to make a good one. A proper.
Quite a process making Black Forest cake.
Yes, she made a proper one, always.
But simple things to throw together are like muffins. You know, if you've got people coming around, and it takes you, let's be honest, 5 minutes to get the batter going. Add whatever you want to add into it, chuck them in the oven, and they're done. Probably the quickest sort of afternoon tea thing you can do. My grandmother, on my father's side, used to have the 5-tiered silver cake tray, and we used to go there about once a month up in Yorkshire, and she would make the most amazing angel cakes, jam tarts, you name it, it was on this tray. And as a kid, I just wanted to eat everything on there, but of course you're allowed only a couple. You have to have a little lace dolly on your plate, and grandmother would put one on there for you. I kept looking at it thinking, you know, you make me feel guilty eating this, because they were just superb. Obviously, if she ever entered any cake shows, she would have won, without doubt.
Yeah, carrot cake with walnuts, yep. And a cream cheese icing. Not too sweet though.
Some of these cakes, the grandmothers used to make a hazelnut cream that went on top of a cake, like like through a piping thing.
That usually goes on a coffee cake.
Ooh. Yeah, like that. Yeah. But in Australia, probably the most common dessert cake at a morning tea for years was just slices of something, like the coconut slice with
Madeira cake.
Madeira cake, sponge cakes. They're pretty standard what you'd get if you went around someplace, someone's home for afternoon tea. Go to desserts, bacon fat caramels. You got me at bacon fat, Vic. You got me at bacon fat.
Okay, taste of Nova. Okay, how do you actually say that?
Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia. Well, we'll be going there.
Bloody cold there. Ooh,
Well,
cold in Nova Scotia.
We have to go to this place and have bacon fat caramels.
I don't know if I'm going to live long enough to go to all the places you want to go to. I'll be 113 by the time you're finished. But simple foods are usually the best. They really are. Like that stew I made. It really is just so simple to make, yet very, very rewarding. Tastes magnificent, and we had it again tonight. Might not have it tomorrow night. We've got a huge tub left of it, but I might have it the next night. But it's yum. Stews, curries, chili beef, yum. You see what VMAC wrote in? If you can't find it, she'll put the link in.
Yeah, no,
Then you can go back later and
I'm going to look.
find it. See, what I haven't done for a long time is do like fish menus, like crumbed fish, battered fish, fish curries, things like that. Yep, at the meditation part of the preview, as the rain comes tumbling down, I want you to all lay down on your back and relax, spread out, listen to the rain. I think they can see a little bit of the misty rain in the background over the fence. I'm not sure.
I found it. I got it.
VMAX, you found it.
I'm saving it so I can look through it later because what I can see is like,
Yep, I got a feeling we might get a bit of wind again. Nicoleska is sick. It doesn't sound good. When I used to dive a lot up north where I live in my state, I used to just take a knife out and low tide under the reef, I'd just sit there, and in my little bag on my hip used to be Worcestershire sauce and a bit of salt. And I would just sit there and devour fresh oysters in the water, literally.
When I just came back into the chat, there's an ad. Are you doing a live stream?
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, there is.
Okay. I didn't mean to put it there. Nothing to do with me. But we're spoilt for reef fish in my state, so we get some high quality fish. I don't like river fish, don't like perch. I prefer ocean going fish. Oh, they're everywhere here. So what's wrong with you, Nicole? Hello, Harv. Yeah, no, I used to literally, it was usually morning, low tide when we were fishing. It was hot. And just go out there. I'd probably eat a dozen, but now I'm not really keen on them. Probably because when you have so much over so long, it's like lobster. I mean, where I come from, they're like cockroaches. They're everywhere. So you'd eat them and eat them and eat them, and they're okay. But in the end, I'd prefer prawns any day.
Oh, when you did your walk around the coal, you got wet and cold. That's not good.
Oh well, get the lemon tea with a bit of honey going. That'll help. Really strong tea with honey and lemon, and let it go cold, and then just sip on it. We're allowed 8 lobsters each a day. So, like I say, it's like, I suppose if you were the same, if you lived in, you could just have it every day. You get a bit sick of it. But I do like prawns, or you call them shrimp. They're not. For me, they're sort of a nutty, tasty morsel, whereas lobster is a bit different. Well, when you come here, Nicole, you're only allowed to catch and eat 8 a day, which should, give you your lobster hit you require. Hello, David. You go through periods in your life with iced coffee. I don't know about you guys. When I was working during the day, I'd have one at Smoko about 10:30 in the morning with something to eat, and I ate it every day for years. Then I just went off it. But I do like making my own iced coffee at home. I'll get the coffee, I make the right sort of consistency, and then add the ice cream and full cream milk. Give it a bit of a blitz. That's nice.
David and Nicole, be nice to each other. David, Nicole is sick, so you have to be nice.
What
when
it is,
she's better,
Nicole,
you can then go for it.
Nicole was out live apparently, and what she did, she walked past a few men, so now she's got man flu. You got to be careful, Nicole.
Yep, leave those men alone.
Actually, I don't know who makes the iced tea at that dome, but that's pretty good iced tea. I had that once there. It's quite nice.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. What happens, David, when someone is always having a go at you? There's usually a love interest of some sort going on. There's a deep-seated desire, and obviously Nicole wants to be with you, and but what it is, you're denying her, so it gets tipped over from being affectionate to I'm going to kill you.
I know, David. I'm just stirring you both. It's like when Awesome and VMAC have a go.
Yeah, when the guy was saying, oh, that cornflour is just the same as cornmeal, I'm thinking, no, it's not. Your cornbread will turn out like muffins. Yeah, the Americans love their sweet tea.
Hey, Awesome.
Hello, Awesome. We'd have 4, maybe 5 cups of coffee during the day, but ours is instant coffee, so it's not as strong as percolated. There's the normal question from VMAC to Awesome.
Yep,
Has tricks today.
Who that comes in here. See, I love it.
Gunn has a special plastic card pass. He enters and goes as he pleases.
We can just sit back now and just watch the chat because it's
Yep.
funny.
The war is on.
Yes. Right, bell ding.
Mind you, that crusty bread we bought today, we had it with our stew. It was unbelievable.
Awesome. Did you watch Seed's video?
What video?
Failed cornbread.
Well, it wasn't failed. We didn't even attempt to make it because we need cornmeal, and you could find cornmeal everywhere in America. Here, not so much. Well, I suppose if Awesome's not that good at growing things, that means that she's very good at other things, because that's how it works in life. Some people are
Yep, just
good
like
at doing
me.
things, and some people are good at doing other things.
Awesome, we're cute.
But that stew tonight was even better than last night. Look, we've got, if I went out into the farms, they'd have cornmeal that'd be being fed to pigs, supplement to sheep, and also cows, you know what I mean. Cornmeal in Australia is usually commercially done for animal feed. And
Well, they import
I'm
it.
asking you now while you're here, Awesome, this is my perception. Maybe 100 years ago or more, poorer people would have been working in farms and whatever, and they would have got some of the cornmeal and made their cornbread from it. That's how I perceive it unfolded.
Oh, that's not good, Nicole.
Oh, it was, the stew tonight, it was better than last night.
VMAC, I don't know, you've got to speak to Awesome.
A Kringle.
Mrs. Seeds and Seeds, you need to try a Kringle when you come to the States. Please let Nicole Green know how good it is. What's a Kringle? What's a Kringle?
Nikolaska says, if David Gunn's here, please tell him I miss him. Yeah, David,
I love it when you
Nicole misses you. Oh, I can. That sounds dangerous. It sounds like coffee cream cake, is it, or something like that, Dave?
Oh, it's a coffee cake.
Yeah, dried corn.
But it's like here, cornmeal, I have to go to a specialty shop or to a spice shop or something like that to get it. Or like your...
Nicole says, Seed, stop telling the truth. David might get the wrong idea.
No, no, she said Seeds, don't be lying.
Tell David I love him. I can hear Nicole
Yeah,
singing
they
in the
make,
background.
we call coffee
Tell
cake
David I
coffee cake.
care. Tell David I'll break both of his legs so he can't run away from me.
You just have to do a song for VMAC, Awesome, Nicole and David.
Oh, geez, I could make a song up about boy. My goodness. Too easy. But cornmeal I used to have it, and I would put it on the bottom of, when I made my homemade bread, I put my dough on top of a very thin layer. I'm sure Awesome does the same, but the cornmeal was coarse, but not quite coarse like cornmeal I've seen
Yeah, but
since.
fear not.
Hello, Len.
Fear not. We will
But cornmeal,
find
that's
it.
that's how I'd use cornmeal as a base under a loaf of bread cooking in the oven. Nicole says to David, I feel loved.
Fear not, Awesome. We will get it and I'll make it. Somebody else will just have to get someone else's recipe and do your idea until I can get the cornmeal.
Look, any given time in the US, there would be cornbread coming out of someone's oven. I imagine cornbread would be used for a side dish, used as a savoury, used as a sweet.
The drama between Nicole and Guns has gotten out of control. Ban them both, please.
Yeah, David, same principle with making a loaf of bread. Using under your pizzas the same. Just makes it easy, doesn't stick. And in some bakers, you'll turn over their fresh loaves, and you can see it's been cooked on a small bed of cornmeal for sure.
Now come on, let's all say we love each other. I love yous all. Come on, seeds.
And when I tell you that I love you, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And when I say I love you true,
See, you said it. You
David.
Said it. Yes, Awesome. I read that today, actually, at the tortilla thingy.
There will be no fighting. As Nicole raises her lightsaber.
Nicole also says, love yous all, everyone but Guns.
I think here's the statement of what I believe on YouTube. This is a great example. It's a social media, and I get on with all the people that are here at the moment, but there is a problem when, and this is my quote, there's a problem when you try to be all things to everybody, you end up being not important to anyone. And what I'm trying to say by that is just be who you are. And
We are.
no, I'm just saying in general, people will know what I'm talking about. When you try and like everyone and try and please everyone, you lose your identity. I'm not saying not like someone, but I think the secret is to be just who you are.
Yep.
And because when you start trying to please people and conforming to their ideals and their beliefs, you get lost along the way. So my quote of the week, you cannot be all things to everyone because you end up being nothing to nobody.
Corn dogs. Okay, so you thought oatmeal for that. Oatmeal. Cornmeal, Jesus, I've got all my words mixed up now. I'm too busy trying to read Nicole and Guns' chat back and forth. Look, you've got something in common, Nicole and Guns. You both like to cook. Meet up and have a cook-off.
And they're exactly the same height if Nicole brings a stepladder. We have loads of Asian produce in this country. We have load of Indian shops.
Big,
We have
isn't it?
Asian shops, Chinese shops. I should do a video. Actually, there's hundreds of them. You can go into special importers for all different foods. The one thing you don't see much of is an American shop. There is one, but it deals with the things like Twinkies, you know what I mean.
Where's that at?
That's Emily told me about that, somewhere in the city.
Oh, yeah, because Emily believes she was an American in a past life. That's... didn't mean cook guns. I meant have a cook-off.
Is he being roasted?
Oh dear.
You've been waiting 2 years to see his beard. Ah. Well, having anonymity is also a very good tool if you are frightened of being exposed. But you don't have to show your face. I don't care if people show their face or not, and I get rather pissed off when people demand it of others.
Yeah, you don't have to. That's why we show the chicken. We don't want to show our face, do we? We don't want people to know who we are.
Well, the reason why I don't put it on you is because you are so beautiful.
Oh, thanks. Keep singing. Keep
to
going.
me. You're everything I ever hoped for. Been no more than 8 months.
Yes, that website, I'm going to check right into that. They make it looks good. Lollies and Kool-Aid stream, Weaver said, in the small American shop.
And so you should, Lynn. If, like I say, it's a media format, it's not a media demand. You'll often hear people say, show your face, you're nothing if you don't show your face. And I'm thinking, actually, the person saying that is nothing, because they are insecure. They have a need which can't be met by demanding of others.
I missed what you started saying. What are you talking about?
I can't tell you again, it's a secret. If you don't want to show yourself online media, or if you want a picture of a cat
Yeah,
representing
fine.
you,
Doesn't
that's
matter.
fine.
Whatever you want.
I don't know if all of you are picking it up, and I don't spend a lot of time in people's rooms, but there just seems a lot of anger, a lot of depressed people, a lot of accusations going on. It's like a very sad place at the moment. Now, I don't go into rooms for more than 5 or 10 minutes, and that's what I pick up. Hello, Sids.
Hey, sis.
Is that the generalisation that you guys are feeling, that it's like everyone's miserable as shit? And I always chuckle when I hear people say, oh, I've got a better car than you. I'm going, okay. I've got a better house than you. I go, okay. I've got more money than you. I'm going, all right. And what they're not getting off me is a reaction, because I don't care. I really don't. But it just seems that there's a general miserable virus going around at the moment. A Boit virus. Everyone's not happy. The world's out to get them. We should do more shopping videos, actually. But, you know, what I'm going to say next is that I'm noticing that on social media, particularly YouTube, and I would say that would just about reflect what's happening in society off social media. There seems a lot of miserable people.
Yeah, but a lot of them are like that in real life too. They're just bringing their
That's
misery
what I
onto
just said.
online. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying them. I think the mood around the world at the moment, it's not like when the Vietnam era was on, where everyone was angry, but there was a reason for that. I think there are a billion reasons at the moment why people are miserable. You name them, finance, circumstance.
Could have been like that for centuries. It's just you hear and see more because of social media. It's more out there, where it used to be by snail mail, you tell someone how pissed off you felt.
Oh, we do it on purpose, Lynn. We'll actually go around and smile at people and say, hello. And it's like a leverage. They go, oh, hello. It's like I only did it once today at the supermarket with the girl getting me my bacon. And any girl that gives me bacon, I love. But anyway, I just said, thanks, love. Big smile, and she smiled back. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's nice.
But think about it. When you actually go past someone or see someone, whether you know them well or not, or you say, oh, hi, how are you? Do you say those words automatically, or do you really want to know how they are? Do you really want to stand there for maybe 5 minutes or 5 hours to find out how they really are?
I agree, David. Yeah, and that happens in our lives, particularly when you get to my age. People, not only that were important to you, pass on, but your friends pass on. And it's a bitch. But, you know, one day we'll be joining them. So
Oh, that's not
it's
good.
just our time
Green
and
Weaver.
place. We don't get to choose that at all. But life, like I said, it's like a river of crap. And every now and then you find a diamond, make it worth swimming in it.
Yeah, some states here, Max, some states are better than others. Where we are, yes, we all say hello when you walk down the street. It's no big deal. Most of the states are okay. Sydney can be
A little impersonal.
a little impersonal. Yeah.
Yes, we have Coles and Woolies. They're the two big chains in Australia. Oh, Lynn said something, but I couldn't read it quick enough.
I think it's just an automatic thing. We turn and run if they said, I want to jump off a bridge. Yeah, that's right, Lynn. It's
Well, yep, I agree with you, Nicole. What it is for me, I don't care what faith people have. Whether they have a faith or not doesn't bother me. I believe there's a bigger picture. I really do. And I think we're all part of it. And that's probably a little bit along Buddhism. But what I'm trying to say is, as long as you've got a faith in yourself, first of all, you can become strong. And then if you have a religious faith, it doesn't matter what it is, because that means everyone else has their own individual faiths. For me, that makes people better to live with. Oh no, we can get it here, but it's ridiculous prices. But we'll find it. Don't panic.
Awesome said we can use
I was a bit miffed.
I can't say placenta. Polenta.
You can use polenta, but it's slightly different. It's more processed.
That's what awesome said. Woolies is a supermarket chain like Coles. It's sort of like your Walmart, I suppose, but maybe not as much range of stock as Walmart. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dream, because we're all part of it. We came from it, and we're going to end up back with it. Even if all of us did not get cremated, in the future, our planet will. So we will be part of the universe.
Yeah, we've got a Woolies probably about 20 minutes away from here. That was our next stop. Awesome.
But I can get it. I mean, I was looking forward to her making cornbread. I wouldn't be critical, but
yes, you would.
No, I wouldn't. I'm just thinking, just good that you're doing that you're making it cornbread.
I'm following a recipe. I'm following Awesome's recipe.
Nicole, in the UK, they've got these little things up against the wall. If you get the plug and you plug it in and you connect it to your phone, it's amazing. It's technology beyond belief. But then it'll charge your phone. You could just say, oh, I'm bored of this David bloke and I'm going. Go on.
No, we're forever plugging your phone. That reminds me, I've got to go and get your charger before your phone dies. Yeah, smaller towns can be more friendly, but they also know each other's business, David, too. Oh yeah, Nicole could make some.
Get an extension cord. Just kidding. Go to sleep if you're sick. Rest is good.
You need to rest, Seeds. Nicole.
Ooh. Take that, says David. She'll go and get the charger now, David, because she's going to stay around
and that's good.
And hassle
idea.
you.
Sid as well can make some cornbread. Follow your recipe. Give them your recipe, Awesome.
Woolies is just a brand name of a supermarket. It's an old name, even in the US, the UK, and Australia.
Oh, sorry, mate. I
Woolworths.
Didn't explain it properly, yeah. Maybe she didn't hear me.
I think the original Woolworths sold clothes 120 years ago.
You've got Woolworths and Woolies. They're the same company, but one sells food and one sells clothes and appliances.
That sounds good. It's a shop that sells everything, near enough.
Yes.
Yeah. But I will be doing a shrimp challenge over the next week or two, where I'm going to make a shrimp dish.
And people are going to follow your recipe.
No, they don't have to. What I'm saying is you make your favourite shrimp dish. That could be shrimp pizza, could be shrimp cocktail, which I like as well. But I'm making shallow fried battered honey and sesame prawns, because we say prawns in Australia. You can have, yep, I've seen that, shrimp and grit, do what you like. You can have custard shrimp if you like. But everyone's got so many different, I know somebody might come up with a gumbo with a handful of shrimp thrown in it, and that's a shrimp dish of sorts. But prawns, or shrimp as you call them, are pretty cheap here really. I think £1.50 costs you about $12. I'm sure you wouldn't get poisoned, David.
Nicole's gone, so now he's got to...
He's got to deal with Awesome now.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true. It's a lot of process to make grits, in my eyes. I don't think VMAC likes shrimp.
What's grits again?
It's a staple food, actually.
Yeah, but what
Have
is
it for
it?
breakfast.
What's grits again, Awesome?
Explain what grits is to Mr. Angel again, Awesome.
Or somebody?
It's a process cooking the damn thing.
I suppose I could Google that, but...
One of my favourite little Chinese dishes is to get half pork mince or ground mince and get shrimp ground, mix it together, a few herbs and spices, and whack it in the wonton, make them look fancy, and cook them in a nice chicken stock. That is delicious. Or you can fry them if you want to.
Yeah, Dreamweaver, I'm with you. I'm still trying to work out biscuits and gravies. I've watched quite a few videos, and a friend of ours did a video for us on biscuits and gravy.
Yeah, Archie did one years ago.
I just, the gravy, to make, I know gravy's been brown, I suppose, or I suppose you've got pale gravies.
Well, I mean, even that took her about an hour to make it, because she had to cook the sausage meat down, the gravy, and it was like, my goodness, get a bowl of cereal, seriously.
Oh, it's boiled cornmeal. Oh.
See, for me, if I made something like that, it'd be more like a Yorkshire pud with beef gravy. And no, that's not a biscuit, and that's not the gravy you guys make, but
grits,
that I'd eat. Yum.
Grits, I don't know what the German word is for it. Mum used to say something about it, but the German grits is completely different to that. It's got bits of fried up fat in it.
It's like, very popular in Australia is usually, which is oats, and then fruit and grain and nuts. But that's quite popular. Big ranges of different types of that in the supermarkets, isn't there?
Yeah.
But I've got a lot of traditional recipes that have been handed down to me from my UK heritage. So yeah, you do see roast beef with me, and you see stews and soups and casseroles and things like that, but they're pretty much established as what I would have had when I was a boy in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
And pretty much what people in Australia had during the same period.
Porridge I could eat any time of the day. Just before my mum passed last year, that and rice pudding was basically all she would eat. So twice a day I would make us porridge, and I'd sit in a room with her. Yeah, we love our porridge.
See, I made breakfast this morning. I cooked a piece of streaky baking each for us, and fried an egg, and
Oh, hey, Archie, just
toast.
talking about you and your biscuits and gravy.
Yes, we were telling them about your process that took about 3 days to make it. I'm only kidding. But it's the process making the gravy bit for sure.
Yeah, it
In fact,
wasn't
I reckon, I mean, you're out in the bush kitchen again now, Arky. You should do it again.
Yeah, not until you made it. We didn't know what it was. I remember that.
Arky makes a good one. Yeah, I would suggest that making that video again would be popular, Arky, for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not subbed up to Arky Off Grid, go and look at the female Dick Prennicky. Lives out in the wild,
Yes,
eats
she does.
wild skunk, spit roasted over an open fire. She's that kind of girl. You still got that portable stove? Or have you upgraded?
So who's,
Yeah, seriously, go and sub to Arky. You'll see some. She's she's a bush baby. That's what we call women that love the bush in Australia. She'd be a bush baby here. Whoa, full size propane stove.
Yeah, she actually said. I think you said that in your last video, didn't you, Arky?
Years ago, I remember she had a portable one, but she'd cook a lot on the open fire.
So whose Wi-Fi? Which neighbour are you using?
Yeah, who are you stealing Wi-Fi off
Who are
today?
you stealing Wi-Fi from, Arky?
Arky Sid is a very good cook. She's got some good cooking videos on her channel. She made loaded potato soup, which I'm pretty sure you've made in the past.
Same neighbour. So we could lose you at any minute, Arky. Tell them to up their game and
Just be diplomatic and tell them to claim you as a deductible off their tax.
yeah, tell them to up their game and get a bigger data. Oh no, I don't do raisins and dates in my.
Oh, I love raisins and dates.
I don't do raisins and dates in my porridge. Or
Wow,
oatmeal.
that's cool. We got a lot of areas in Australia where they have satellite, but it's all subsidised here. You don't pay any more than if you were in the city if you're out in the bush.
Dream Weaver said maybe my house. Everyone seems to know my Wi-Fi. Arky's in US,
Arkansas,
Arkansas.
hence the name.
Yeah, porridge. Yeah. Amish friendship bread. Never heard of it, David.
Yeah, I'm more of a bacon and eggs man in the morning if I do have breakfast. We had it today, but can't remember the last time we had it. Bad things come from Arkansas. Bad things.
Oh, what is it? You saying that because of?
No, that's VMAC just said it.
Yeah, BMAC's saying it because of the man in the van.
I know, that's what,
Yeah.
what she's saying it for.
I believe us, BMAC. Arky is from a different area and a beautiful person.
And she's hot. But don't tell anyone. Well, she's going to be real hot shortly. My goodness, where Arky lives gets a bit warm in amongst the tornadoes and storms. Yeah, you do all right in Australia, Arky, because you're used to the heat. A lot of your compatriot Americans would not survive, but I think you would.
Oh, okay, yeah, like a starter day.
I think you were telling me once, it's a bit the same here in summer. Usually the worst part of the day is after it's been really hot, like in Arkansas gets, it's like the nights don't cool down much. So you don't get much relief. You get the humidity after that then. Making a sourdough starter is pretty simple, even though some people have it for decades. They just keep it going. It's just a natural bacteria in the air. A gift.
And humidity is not good for curly hair, I tell you.
Low battery warning.
Oh, I'll go and get it. So I told ya.
Yeah. Well, the chicken takes a lot of power.
Hey, Laura. Is it Laura?
Yeah, 70s is okay. I mean, I'll be honest, I'd settle for 90 every day. I really would. It means it's not cold in the morning, it's a bit warm during the middle of the day, and it's nice at night time. See you, VMAC. Sharpen them knives.
See, VMAC.
Right, we've got to play in the external. Yeah, I'm with you, Archie. Luckily, in my country, normally it's dry heat. When it's 45 degrees Celsius, I don't know what that is, about 110, 115. If it's just heat and dry, yeah, it's hot, but it's okay. And if you go into the cities in Australia, it's not much different than the US, just for the amount of build-up and concrete and tar and buildings, the humidity is a lot higher in the cities. Oh, am I still here?
I'm checking. Yeah, awesome answer.
I had to,
Oh, thanks.
I had to
Awesome.
power up.
I'll have a look later. Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, I think KD was saying the same thing, Archie. You know, you can have really nice summer days and all of a sudden that humidity kicks in off the Gulf. But at the moment, I know you guys are in tornado time. Have you had any look? Yeah, well, winter, yeah, we're going to have 3 days at the moment around 16 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is. But it's not too cold, but
yeah,
that's about as cold as it gets during the day in winter.
we've been watching some, as we're laying in bed, we've been watching tornado videos on YouTube, eh? Oh,
Yeah.
some of them are so scary.
Have you had any close calls there this year, Archie? Yeah, you said that before about the mountains buffeting them, but I do remember one video we had something go down the back of the paddock, ripping through.
Heard Arkies.
We get them here. We get tornadoes here. Of course, no one in the US ever reads about our tornadoes, but we do get them.
Oh, the friendship bread. Thanks, awesome. Awesome. You send me that. All I want to do is
Actually, we had a cat here the other night.
I want to.
Did you tell them about that?
to be careful. I was going to say. I was going to say. I want to cuddle your pussy or something.
My wife just said she wanted to cuddle your pussy or something. Okay. Let's make a video out of that. We had a sort of a blue Siamese cat last night wander around the back. Cats generally find us. We've never really gone out of our way to get a cat, but we've always ended up with one. Yeah, I'd wake it up, Archie. People love watching that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we don't get many thunderstorms.
That's why she is awesome,
Yes.
Awesome says.
That's right. So, Blue Russian. Is your cat a Blue Russian awesome? Or got Blue Russian in it?
Yes, they do, Laura. The cats are You know, servants to none. I should do more footage of our daughter's chihuahuas. She's so funny.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
hilarious. If I go in the kitchen, she knows that's where the food is. And like I was reheating the stew tonight, and she's salivating like Homer Simpson. Didn't give her any though.
No, it was too peppery, couldn't have.
Sister is a plant killer. Well, maybe the cat is accessory to the death of the plants. Awesome, but you need to share the blame.
Yes, we're going to go to Bunnings and tape it. And we're going to ask questions for you. But you can see,
You're talking about the garden centre?
yeah,
Okay.
you can see the blue in him. Awesome.
Yep, that'll be about right, Laura. One thing I notice, and I'm sure most of you, being fairly level-headed as you all are, would agree, is that people sometimes take things far too seriously.
I mean, Arky's actually been out of the loop. It's like you know what boy he is.
Oh, Archie would know the nonsense that goes on here.
Yeah, but it wasn't really labelled that a couple of years, 3 years ago. Heinz 57, yep, Heinz variety.
So I think we might get to see Archie make her biscuits and gravy. It's been far too many years between the last batch. One of my most favourite sandwiches. It's very simple. It's just boiled egg, curry powder, butter, bit of mayonnaise, probably some fresh parsley chopped up finely, all mixed up. Put on some nice fresh bread, make it into a sandwich. Cold. That's how I like my egg sandwiches. Bit of mustard, definitely. Dream, sorry, forgot about that. Usually Dijon. Yeah, I got neutered 1994. I doubled in size as well.
Yep, yeah, seeds is desexed.
What it is now, I catch them, but I have no idea what to do with them.
I was just thinking, with male cats, don't their balls fall off?
No,
They
they
shrivel
can
up.
cut them off. That's a simplistic way.
They shrivel up.
No, they cut them off.
Oh God, what a subject.
YouTube's so funny. You'll be in chats and someone will say something funny, and then about 5 minutes later, there's that name come in the room that was to do with the joke. Happens all the time. Yeah, marinated tuna. I don't mind tuna, but not out of a tin. I'm sorry, I draw the line on tinned fish. Not happening. Get a nice cutlet of tuna, put it on the barbie. It does taste like chicken. But out of a tin, every time I open a tin of tuna, it's probably for a cat.
Well, there you go. That's what maybe Awesome should do.
What, open a tin of
Grow
tuna?
tuna.
Grow tuna. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm growing a few yellowfin down the back there amongst the daisies. Yes, Absolutely, Lynn. Fish overcooked is not good. No, I don't like that arky at all. It's just not right. I did make a chili beef, I don't know, about 2 or 3 months ago, Arky, and I make it with, along with beef, I make it with pork. So if you want to have a look at that, that's my version of chili beef. Yeah, that's how I like it. We catch a lot of finned tuna type fish here, all different types, bonito, mackerel, tuna, and I cut them in cutlets. Scale them first, of course. Put them in cutlets on the barbie, man, beautiful. If you overcook it, you might as well eat a golf ball. Though I've never been a fan of sushi, I'm afraid. Wow. The bit that shocks me, Laura, is the $4.50. That's a lot of money. Yeah, teriyaki's good in all sorts of things. Cooked with pork, chicken, fish. Yeah, you sometimes, like, I mean, we don't eat at fast food places often. It's usually because we've got a grandkid with us or whatever. But I'm always staggered, like, you'll get a meal for 2 adults and a kid, and it's like $35. And I'm thinking, geez, the amount of food I could make with $35. Just seems like a lot of money for very little, and usually it's not very good. But I make loads of things like that during winter. Chili beef, stews, soups, casseroles, pies, pot pies you call them. Yeah, I just don't think it's value for money, and usually, yeah, because it's all processed. I do not like hamburgers from the major chains because they taste like, I don't know, cake. They're too sweet, and when you bite them, they stay like dented in, and then the burgers never look like what's on the wall. If you say, I'll have one of them, they go, right, and you get it, and you look at it, and it's like someone stood on it. You think, that doesn't represent what's on the wall. Yeah, I do. I love cooking. I love flavours and textures of food. One thing I didn't put in that stew, and I forgot because I had it, was just a small 1/4 cup of pearl barley. I don't know if anyone else uses pearl barley like that in soups or stews, but good stuff. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm amazed at the basics. Like, I'm seriously thinking about doing videos on how to fry an egg, or make an omelette, or make some toast, because some people just don't know the basics. And I think everyone should know how to basic cook. Not by law, not a North Korean type, you have to, but it's good for them. I mean, pot noodles. The amount of times people say, I'm eating some pot noodles, I'm going, okay. And I can show you how to make noodles. It's just about the easiest thing in the world. Make your own pasta or noodles. You can make rice noodles, you can make wheat noodles, you can make all types of grain noodles. Whole grain. The Chinese make magnificent stocks, and a lot of their stocks, the shortest, I think I seen one Chinese guy tell me, he said he'd be getting up at 3 in the morning, putting on the beef bones with the marrow in it, of course. A bit like what people call a bone broth. That's what most Chinese based noodle soups are about, like Vietnamese. All the Asian countries do the same. Look, Lynn, every time I've seen that person eat, it looks like it's been regurgitated, what's on the plate. And it looks, by law in America, that you have to eat off plastic or paper plates and plastic knives and forks. Is it law in America? I can't believe that.
Is it coffee time?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a coffee. Where are you going?
Going to make
Oh, she's modelling. Here we go.
coffee.
Can you imagine when she gets old in a nursing home? She's going to give them hell.
Yep.
I missed whatever you said there, Orson. My screen doesn't hold the comments for too long. Well, one thing we do all day, we have differences of opinion, don't get me wrong, but every day we have a laugh of some sort. And I think that's the secret. I don't like commercial hot dogs, never do. Give me a real sausage. That's unusual. Awesome Hooker was harassing guns. Right. Actually, what you could do, Awesome, this is just another suggestion, if permitted by other channels, is to, because you can take any of my videos, I don't care, but maybe ask other people and do like once a week, 3 or 4 cooking videos. You can, if you wish, refer the channel for people to go and subscribe on it. I don't care, but I don't know, Boyd Cooking School or something like that, I don't know. But there's plenty of people with loads of skills, and I don't give measurements, so I probably won't get a gig. But when it comes down to a lot of the others, they do tell you what they put in there. I just throw handfuls of stuff in and stir it with a wooden spoon. But I don't know, you're welcome to take mine, and I'm sure other people, I'm sure Sids wouldn't mind. And other people, maybe you could do like an hour presentation of 10-minute videos or whatever. Just a thought. Oh, I didn't see any of that. Yeah, Archie's like me, you don't measure. It's a bit of this and a bit of that, and then you taste it. Yeah, I like my meat from the butcher, I'll be honest with you. Every now and then I get a bargain from a supermarket, but most of my meat comes from a butcher. Yeah, I suppose it's balanced when you're making things like cookies or cake, because they end up a disaster otherwise. But I still, even with that, I just make it up as I'm going along. Right, Sid, you have a good day? Yeah, I like supporting the butcher too. And most of the time, the good quality meat in the supermarket is more expensive than the butcher. What it is the case here. But when we get the back patio al fresco beat, there'll be plenty of barbecue videos going on. Yeah, you could use those as videos too. But I find that because we all cook differently, we all have our own little bits and pieces that we add or we don't add, and even though we might call it the same dish, it's done differently. Yep, one of the names is Josh, Josh, Woodward, spelled WOODWARD, Josh Woodward. He has loads of music. There's a very good chance within probably this year that channels like mine and everyone else under a certain amount won't have monetization again. Now, that's not going to change anything I do, and it probably won't change a lot of people. But the people that are only in it for the money may not participate. I don't know. I think it's a good thing, I'll be honest with you. I think if you've got people doing videos purely for the enjoyment of it, you'll still end up with good quality and good fun. Those that have only been doing it for the money and disappear, well, you haven't really lost anything in my eyes. But I think it's coming. It's not that I need glasses or some. On my iPhone, they only stay up for about 3 or 4 seconds. But I'll wear the old fart thing. That's fine. And I've been monetized for years. I think at the moment I could buy about 20 pot noodles a month out of my profits. But we end up giving stuff away most of the time anyway, so I'm not in it for the money. That's why you don't see Super Chat. There's no PayPal link. It's just me. People can do as they please, but I don't do that. All right, we're getting messages from above. I don't know what she's doing. I'm not sure whether the medication's kicked in yet. Oh, hang on. That's what she's showing. All right. Just to tease all you women. Can't really see it. Hold it back a bit in the light. There you go. M&M chocolate. I think that's medication. I'm not sure. The thing about a chocolate bar, when we open it, it tends to get devoured. Mainly by her, of course, but I don't mind a bit of chocolate. Yeah, I think it's coming. I don't know, if I was a model manager for YouTube, I'd probably set the bar at about 50,000 subs. As for monetization, then I could tell my advertisers they're going to channels of substance. That's just me. I don't know what YouTube will do, but I'm sure it's coming. Is Carlos in here? A man of many faces. Hello, Carlos. Yeah, I've always worked out, David, if you break all the chocolate into small squares, you're only eating very little. Core reception seeds. Okay. Well, I'll move 1 millimeter. All right, Aki. We'll catch up with you shortly. Like I say, if you're not subbed up to Aki, just go and have a sticky beak, but you'll be impressed. She's a bush baby. I think she's making coffee, but I have a feeling she's probably nibbling away at the chocolate bar. No? I can hear you. She can hear me. I never said anything. Oh, here we go. Bit of a slide dig. Did you take your Geritol today, Guns? It's going to be thick and fast now. Here it comes. The Char lady has arrived. Instant coffee. That's what it looks like. Thank you very much.
Do you want a biscuit? Anyone want a biscuit?
No, I'm good. Nice. Nice cuppa.
Nice cuppa.
I was going to ask this question. I'm sure you guys do, but I'm sure it's probably different. Set your Vega. It's on. I'll try and speak as quick as I can now because the war's begun. But do you guys eat crumpets? I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. They're quite popular here. Cook up a couple of crumpets, a bit of butter, maybe a little bit of honey. I don't mind them with baked beans, actually. Oh dear, a depends joke. Look out, awesome. Have a good day, Laura. Now, I've had crumpets all over the world, and I can tell you in Ireland they're different, in England they're different, in Australia they're different, but they're still good. You get the really big ones in the UK. If you're in the UK, you know what I'm talking about. They're big, round crumpets. I don't know, they probably weigh the weight of about 3-4 slices of bread, but they're monsters. I saw them in Sainsbury, actually. Do you remember those big crumpets?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
In Australia, you get round ones, you get square ones, you get thin ones, you get thick ones.
Dunking the biscuit in the coffee.
Oh, you'll have to do a replay. Biscuit dunking.
Like that.
It's an art form.
Make sure that the biscuit doesn't fall in there, especially if you haven't got a spoon.
It's an art form. Dunking a biscuit without losing it in your coffee. Who did we send Tim Tams to? Oh, Nicole got some, didn't
Oh,
she?
damn, I forgot to put any in for seeds.
Oh, you're in trouble now. Crumpets are thick, they're already pre-cooked. In other words, they're in their raw state but firm, and you put them in the toaster or under a grill, and then they go crispy. You add a bit of butter to them.
And honey.
Honey.
Yum.
But they can be had with your breakfast, like bacon, eggs, and crumpets. Real yum. But the ones in the UK I saw, they're monsters. They must have been, I reckon, 8 inches across, 3/4 inch thick, like a small flotilla, actually.
I was reading the chat now between Awesome and David.
Just like the Civil War all over again. Mr. Lincoln, what are we going to do about David and Awesome? We got the Confederate Army fighting the Northers. What do we do? Send them to Australia. Yeah, crumpets, yeah. I'll actually do a video about crumpets in the future because people don't know. I'll show them.
Oh, the other thing I have to make is Welsh cakes.
Mm-hmm.
I loved those.
Do you make Welsh cakes, Lynn, at all? For us, they're a little bit like a pikelet, what we call them. Similar.
Sort of between a biscuit and I don't know.
Well, it's between a pikelet and a scone, basically.
A biscuit.
Yeah, you'll like them. If you like bacon and eggs and you've got a buttered crumpet, carve a bit off and have a bit of egg and a bit of bacon, yum.
Yeah, I like mine with honey on it.
No, she doesn't like Welsh cakes. Yeah, they're different.
Oh, is that a cat living here?
I think so. Could be that Siamese thing that was here the other day.
Mm.
There's a bit more rain coming. I know it sounds silly, but we were sitting there watching the rain for about an hour today at the front porch.
Yeah, but that's because we
It's
haven't
like-
had any.
Look at that rain.
It's it's nice to listen to it and watch it.
Ooh. It looks like pistols at dawn. And David and Awesome's eyesight's not the best, so their seconds could be in danger. So the wife has been selecting certain things that are going to be going in the house the last few days. Not sure where you're up to with that. Where are you up to with that?
Well, there's not that much to choose. Like, I've got to choose a paint colour, which we've both agreed that colour
Yep.
will look nice.
Yep.
I just have to, we've got to go to Bunnings to get a paint swatch so we can actually get the right name.
Yep.
And then it's tight. I don't know, I've got to look. I don't like any of the basins. I don't like it, you come with the mill.
Yeah, we'll just get our own.
Yeah, I don't like the come of the mill IKEA come flat
No, no,
white.
they should.
Well, that's what you'll get if you let them pick. So
Well, no, they don't get to pick. They're just giving you a selection to look at.
yeah.
McVitie's ginger cake. I love ginger, and I might have had it, but the wife doesn't like ginger.
No.
I'll eat and drink anything ginger. Picked up some nice Bundaberg ginger beer today.
I won't take ginger tablets if I feel sick, because it helps, or if I go on a boat.
We stayed in one hotel near Earl's Court, and it was run, and it's their privilege to do so, it was run and owned by Muslims, and they were fine, they were lovely. But breakfast consisted of some sausage I couldn't describe, no bacon, and fruit. So we ate out most mornings.
Yeah, that ginger cake you're talking about, Lynn, we were directed to one of the most famous little bakeries or something that actually made it or sold it, remember?
Mm.
But
Was that in...
I don't know, did you taste any? I didn't taste
There
it
was
or get
selection
any
that I ate
because-
some of, and I think one was ginger, so it could have been
Yeah.
a McVitie, I don't know. But I love anything ginger.
Oh, with a ginger cake with a white sauce.
Sounds like an icing to me. In fact, one of my favourite biscuits is just a ginger snap, just a basic ginger snap. I love them. Well, it looks like tonight we've seen the beginning of the Battle of Middle Earth.
That's just so funny reading the banter between them.
Frodo Hooker in the War of the North. Hello, JP.
Hey JP, what's this chat about? Carlos said.
Well, generally we're just sitting back watching Awesome and David interact.
Yeah, because Nicole
We're
left.
talking about some food along the way.
So Nicole left, so David and Hooker are having it now. Actually, where did Carlos go?
I never even saw Carlos. I think what happened, Lynn, is that the adoption papers didn't get signed. But that was always going to happen. Yes, it's a cock. That's we call them in Australia, male chickens.
Yep.
It's about 2 foot high, which is what you would expect in my backyard.
You haven't got him zoomed in tonight.
Do you want me to zoom in the cockerel, do you? Is that what you want?
Just a little bit. Just go slow.
There we go. My kitties love seeds. Well, we know your kitties love plants.
Oh.
What'd you have for dinner, JP? What did you cunningly create in your kitchen
I'll see.
tonight? That's cute, isn't it, the cat?
Definitely. That's it. That's the. Oh, I see the other cat. Oh my God, how gorgeous is that one? I haven't seen that one so close. Look at that.
I'll show the world.
No.
Oh, I have to put it around this way. That's Awesome's pussy. All we're going to do now is get someone with an RV, and I'm a maid pussy. Just saying, alright?
That one.
You can tell the herbivorous nature of that cat, obviously.
That's got tortoiseshell, hey, Booker? I like that one awesome.
I think this one's meant for David, I'm not sure. I think that's a personal message to Guns from Awesome. Zata, oh, spoil yourself tonight. I like all different nationalities of foods. I really do. I like Moroccan foods. Not big on the slop that we see the man in a van eat though, because that doesn't represent a lot of the country's food, trust me.
Oh, that cat is,
Available on t-shirt at boitlegend.com.
why am I spinning?
You're spinning still?
No. A pure tortoiseshell cat is very expensive here, Awesome. All tortoiseshell. They're quite a sought after cat here.
Yeah, you don't see many, do you really?
No.
Here's a good question. It's a psychological question.
I keep
It's
spinning.
not meant to trick you, by the way. It's just meant to your self-expression. If you were an animal, what would you be? Very interesting question. If you were an animal, what would you be? You don't have to tell me why you would be that animal. You just need to say what animal.
Can you only pick one?
Yep, just one. Lynn says an elephant, which is majestic, of course. So we know Lynn's animal. Mr. Ganger would be a tiger. No wait, an eagle. No wait. JP would be a porpoise. Can't you afford a dolphin, JP?
Yeah, that's true, Awesome. I can't just pick one. What would you be?
What would I be? I'd be a bear,
Well,
because then I could shit in the woods. David says a dog. Awesome says a horse. I'm thinking Clydesdale, something majestic, awesome. Or were you thinking like a little pony, Shetland or something like that? Oh, Awesome would be a skunk, says David.
Oh, stop. I know it's about the coffee then.
JP, JP has a good point there, David.
Yeah, that's true. Oh,
Pretty
God.
sure the man in the van would be, if he get to choose to be an animal, he'd be a sloth.
Hey, Kathy.
Hello, Kathy.
You've just come a good time.
Hello,
What?
Terry. Lion, big cats in general. Yeah, he would definitely be a sloth. Very little movement happening there.
I just asked him, what animal would you be if you could? Kathy and Terry, what would you be? You can't insult a sloth. I love sloths.
No, it just
I don't
would
wanna-
represent his lifestyle.
I don't want to compare him against a sloth. That's insulting a sloth.
All right, what about just a common garden slug?
Yes. Yes. And he might throw himself in the salt pot.
You can just imagine the phone calls taking place now. G'day Norm, how you going? Yeah, all right. Noticed that you're not dropping any money anymore. That's right. Don't you love me anymore? No, never did love you. But you're my father. Norm would say, I am not your father.
A maggot. No, Terry, you're not saying you'd be a maggot, are you?
No, she's
Yeah.
explaining.
Yeah, well, that's true, I think.
Well, JP, I think the adoption papers didn't get signed. We'll leave it at that. You never know, though, on the horizon of someone who achieves so much, like driving to a shop or walking around a corner is an achievement. He may have another sugar daddy on the horizon, because there are always loose cannons, no matter where you go.
Every night.
JP, you know what that sound is in the background?
Yeah, every night that noise. Right, well, I didn't know that. They broke up, JP.
Yes, I think there's been a breakup of the affair. It's finished.
So he's just still hanging around Canada then?
Bully does that all the time. Yeah, they may do, David, but I have a feeling that enough is enough.
Well, Kathy, now you know why we won't give RC Bully a wrench, because we know exactly what he does, because he's done it for years.
That's what they call
We
the
told everyone.
steam clean,
We
JP.
warned, yeah.
The train goes down every night this time to stations and cleans the tracks. I thought you'd know that, being a trainologist.
Oh, you couldn't tell what the noise was, huh?
Nah, it's definitely not Drury. RC Bully had another name years ago. Still been a miserable prick, whatever name you put him under.
Yeah, Kathy, I mean, we can laugh, but we just knew. We told people don't give him one, because that's exactly what he'll do. And people were warned, so yeah.
Yes, he's definitely a grown man, if you know what I mean.
No, it's not Drury.
If you go back in time, and if you've seen this, you'll understand what I'm saying. Watch the interaction between ROC Bully and Juice it's always war. Those two go
And-
back a long way.
And a few like what's his name? TR's videos.
Who's?
TR.
Who's he? Oh, I haven't watched him for years.
Yeah, RC Bully was in there.
Mm-hmm.
Was supporting him. Did the same thing then when he got power. Yeah, that's right, Kathy. They've learnt now.
Oh, he's not TM. No.
No.
Haven't seen or heard of TM. I hope he's still with us.
Yeah.
I know he wasn't well last time I did speak with him. It's like even Bully. Bully comes in here and says, I need a wrench. I said, what for? I need a defensive wrench. No, you don't. I need a wrench. And then I think JP timed him out, which I thought was very funny. Yes, that's a very good point, Kathy. A bit like, I'm the Bergs. Anyone who mentions themselves in the third term can't live in reality in the one they're in. No, signature is Jeff Towers. TM Movies is Jeff Towers.
Yeah, TM movies.
Used to be a bit of Tony Mullins in there, but it's
Yeah.
predominantly Jeff Towers.
Now we're talking about
Very clever, Jeff.
We're talking about Tony Mullins. We quite often had chats with him, but he got very sick and we hadn't seen him for a while.
Yeah,
And he's been very quiet for how long now?
6 months apparently.
Yeah. So we're trying to find out how he is.
Some very clever people with their parodies on YouTube for sure. I've been watching a few of Just Darren's lately, and they're funny. He has a very ironic sense of humour.
Yeah, so TM Signature is two people.
Signature
Is,
is Jeff.
yeah, and
He has about 6 channels. But yeah, I don't know about Tony. I do know he was gravely ill at one stage through several sources. I knew that.
yeah, Tony is a friend of ours. We've known him for, oh God, as long as Signature. I don't know how many
it's
years.
About 7 years.
7, 8 years.
8 years, yeah.
That's why I was saying, like, you get to know someone or talk
Oh.
to someone for so long.
I'll explain to Lynn. The only psychology in it shows people's strengths or weaknesses. You come out way on top, Lynn. Trust me. With the elephant, it's not indicative of anything other than how you feel about yourself.
Well, they say you have totem animals.
Oh no, that's different.
Yeah.
This is how you feel about yourself and what you would represent if you were an animal.
But sometimes the animal that you say you would like to be can be your totem animal because you
Oh, I'm sure.
connect with
Yeah,
it.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Because they have strengths that we could learn from.
We've got a cat getting wet. Can you hear that
Yeah.
cat in the background?
Come
He's
here,
going,
puss, puss.
holy fuck.
I actually think there's a cat fight next door. Yes, that's right, JP. TM Movies is Sid, and Tony Mullins is someone else. Yes.
Tony Mullins had about 3 or 4 channels over the years.
Now, do you remember at the end of some of Signature's movies, you'd see that guy dressed with a hat on and a smoke hanging out and saying, I'm the toughest mother, blah, blah. Or what did he say?
Yep.
That's Tony Mullins, JP.
Yep. He bought several portions of land, David. Gee, those cats next door are going for it big time.
He did. We talked to him since he moved and bought land and all that, but it's probably been about 7 months since we've talked to him, and
Yeah.
yeah. Yes, that's it, JP. That's Tony Mullins.
But just like in real life, we lose people, and if Tony has gone, that's just what it is.
Because he was very, very sick.
Mm. That's right. For many, many years. And he dabbled in business there and here and there, different things. Just love the sound of rain. Very soothing.
Hopefully someone will have some news on Tony. We'll find out sometime.
Oh, it's a pertinent question, awesome, but it's like the depth of a friendship. I mean, do you care of someone that, say, your brother knows, and your brother says, oh, my friend passed away? Well, that's as much care as you could probably just be sympathetic, but because you weren't directly involved with them,
Yeah.
it's the care factor is less.
But if people know of someone and they think, oh, that if they hear news or whatever of a person, everybody reacts. But like, we've known Tony for a long time and talked to him many a time. That's
Yeah.
why we'd like to know. That's
But-
why I say if no one has information or keeps in contact with anyone, you sort of will never know.
No, it sounds a cruel statement, but the fact is, it's a bit like the Fleetwood Mac song. Players only love you while you're playing. And people do pass away and their memory is lost quite quickly. On social media, it's not the same as in real life when something like that happens. So I use that terminology from the song, players only love you while you're playing, because it's very pertinent on social media that, you know, Mr. Popularity can be gone tomorrow. We can all fall off the perch at any given time. We just live in a time where you get to have associates, if you like, in the hundreds on social media. And if someone is gone or lost and they've passed on, it's sad, but again, I keep reality in the fact is that in my real life, when I lose someone, that far extends from what it would be on social media.
Yeah, that's true. But I agree with what Awesome said. She would miss many but grieve a few. So yeah, you're right, Awesome.
I think what you're saying, Awesome, is that when you find out the depth of someone and you can see their true values and the meaning of them, if you like, in many ways, when they go, yeah, sure, there is a sense of loss for sure. Some people will never meet. That's just how life is. But it doesn't mean that their loss is any less. Like I say, we're in the age of media. In the next 20 years, a format, if not YouTube, something similar will exist, and many of us will go. That's just how it will be. You don't have to like it, you just have to accept it. Mind you, the latest climate report says we'll all be gone by 2050. So it doesn't really matter anyway.
2050.
2050, 30 years from now.
What?
That's the official climate report released.
Oh, then you've got other people saying it's hundreds of years. See, that sort of information, what, do they think giving that information is going to wake people up and start to do something about whatever
No,
the
I
problem
think this is more a statement of fact. I think the tipping point has been reached. We all notice the changes. There's no question about it. Is it all only man-induced? Probably not. The truth is the planet does shake, rattle and roll without our influence, but we certainly are a messy species.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, Len. It's what they have contributed to you in your life that's important, yeah, how you feel.
All I want to leave behind is my footprints in the sand, and they'll be soon washed away.
Yeah. JP, stop asking Sid what she's wearing.
Shorts.
Shorts.
JP will say, are they the see-through type of shorts? Yep, that would cover all of us for sure, David. I do not expect to live to be 120 at all. Mind you, someone in our generation will, no question, if we get past 2050. Without doubt, Lynn, what will happen if it is, say, a major pandemic, or if it is the climate gone absolutely haywire, society as we know it, which is not that good now, will be a total disaster. And men will kill each other for bread, milk, honey, water. Water will be the biggest priority, because as soon as the world turns to shit, there ain't no water coming out of your tap. You find out your need for water will be incredible when you can't just get it whenever you like.
Sid is giving us a rundown of what she's wearing now.
She has to make a public appearance. Does that mean you're going to court?
Now I have
I'm just kidding, Sids.
Now I have a t-shirt on. JP shorts, boring. Have a time out and think about something that will sound more exciting.
Yeah, they've already done the studies though, JP. The problem with a lot of water that gets used, it's not for consumption in people's homes, it's for industry. And there's only so much desalination you can do. Many years ago when we were in Sydney, there was a major problem. And they're looking at drought now in New South Wales again. But drought hits our country all the time. It's the population. All the experts say our country can only cap at 40 to 45 million people. And the only reason that is the case is because of the lack of water. Well, let's be honest, the lack of rain. Yeah, I'm sure. In my state, 1st of June, you're not allowed to water anything in the garden. Zero. Nothing. If you've got rainwater tanks, you can water your garden.
So Kathy's listening while she's cleaning. Kathy, can you come here when you're done?
What do you need cleaning?
I don't know, just check.
You cleaned today, didn't you?
No.
You swept something.
Oh, yeah, the kitchen floor.
No, like I say, we are a destructive, messy species. If we were an animal causing all this destruction, humans would get rid of it. There's some person here that was indicating that one of the policies we should go forward with, particularly in our supermarkets, is to have nothing packaged, which I found quite interesting.
They're trying it, aren't they? There's shops opening up where you take your own container or buy their container.
Yeah, well, we're allowed to have bores here. But I do know some of the restrictions in the US are just absurd. Can't catch rainwater, can't use your bloody bore. But it does boil down to one thing, and I'm not a eugenist, I don't want population eliminated, but our population is becoming unsustainable. The answer to it, very complicated. I don't know. I said this the other night, maybe there'll be a draft where women unfortunately don't get in the draft and they have to be desexed. I don't know. Will it get to that point? I don't know. I think Mother Nature will step in and certainly depopulate the planet through means of what we're used to in the past. Viruses, bacteria, plague. They happen all the time anyway, but I think it'll happen on a major scale. And it's nothing new for our planet. There's some interesting studies done into things like war War has killed less people than the people that have been saved through the new medicines of the last 100 years. What does that mean? Well, without the new medicines, we literally have saved more people who would have died than have died in all the wars. So we have, and we continue to preserve life better than we have ever done before. Yes, there's still some things that happen, but the one thing we can't stop is a major pandemic if it happens. You've seen glimpses of it in the last 20 years. Asian flu, you name it, SARS, Ebola. You've seen them raise their head. At the moment, Ebola is still rampant in West Africa. But it will be something like that that eliminates, well, what happened last time in the big plagues is basically half the population goes. And a lot of people say, oh, no, that's nonsense. No, that's fact. Some viruses work incredibly quickly that you couldn't provide vaccines or help to the masses. The Black Plague's a classic. No, that's dead wrong, David, for sure. Yeah, there's some thought in what you say there, Lynn. And JP, I think one of the things I've noticed, even we've had a bit of a cough and a flutter for about 2 or 3 weeks, is that the younger people than me certainly are more susceptible to the common colds, the flus. It was explained to me why that is the case. When I was grown up, you know, I had exposure to things that you've never been exposed to. Diphtheria, whooping cough still around. Smallpox was around when I was a kid. Leprosy. I could go on and on about the diseases that were around when I was a kid that don't exist for the last 30 years. And one of the immunologists who wrote a book on this said the problem is that the new generations do not have the bacteria in their gut or their system, in their immune system, to fight some of the common diseases now, which is why I would say if a pandemic broke out, one of the ironies is most of the people that would be dying would be the ones under the age of 60, not over the age of 60. And that's on papers, that's scientific papers. That's not me just rambling, because of the immunology that I carry from my generation that's not carried in the new generations, which is sad. I mean, you end up with a world full of people like us in this room, really old and useless. Except JP, he never ages. But if a pandemic hit today, mathematically, around the world at any given time, there are 3,000 flights happening every day. 3,000 going like a spider web all around the planet. So if a pandemic, say, hit in London, within probably 24 hours, every country in the world would be susceptible to it. You'd have to ground every aircraft because we are so interconnected. For that reason, on board a plane, you could have 400 or 500 people, say, go to New York from London within 2 hours. And if a pandemic is on board that plane, it gets spread. You've seen movies about it, you've seen the fiction about it, but it's very possible that that could happen. And like the Black Plague, which you could catch today and be dead tomorrow, and if there are billions of us queuing up for some sort of relief medicine-wise, there ain't enough stuff to go around. I'll give you the best example. If there was a disaster now in Sydney and there were 400 victims of something, say 200 died and 500 were injured, the hospitals in Sydney, as big as they are, would struggle to cope. You'd have people on the front lawns of hospital, and that's a small scale, nothing like a pandemic. So we're not, you know, no one in any country, even in the Western world, is geared up for something major like that to happen. And the problem with a pandemic is that who the hell do you quarantine? If 10 people come from 10 different suburbs in Sydney, you can be sure that it's in all those suburbs. So what is the answer to that? Get the hell out of there. No one's coming to save you. Pandemic is global, JP. It's like the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu in 1916 killed more people, and that's a flu, than all of World War I victims. That's how massive it was. That's probably the most recent outbreak in the 20th century. Yeah, it's a bit different in Australia. Everybody has solar here, mate. In fact, our electricity companies are screaming that they're not making any money. Everywhere you go in my country, there are solar panels. It's one of those interesting things, Awesome. I know in one line of my family on my mother's side, the history shows that they suffered in a village massive deaths from the Black Plague. We're talking early 1500s. There's been several stages of the Black Death. But two of the girls from her family line were immune. Apparently they had bites on them from the fleas and all sorts of things, but they didn't get it. And they worked as nurses, and they did not die. So there are certain people with something in their immune system, either handed down over generations, which I believe what happens, and they are immune to that particular type of disease. One of the reasons now, I don't take the flu shot. Now, I'm not anti-vaccine, don't get me wrong, but the flu shot that you're given in your particular country can vary, and it's usually after the mainstream of the virus that is most common. But that's not how the flus work. Bacteria and viruses don't conform to a vaccine. In other words, they can mutate. And in our country at the moment, we're having deaths from just the common flu. I'm sure JP's read what I've been reading. It's up 85% this year from last year, deaths from the flu. And young people dying, kids. It's not that I don't take shots because I'm anti-vaccine for the other reasons that people talk about. I find that it's a very narrow window that it's trying to cover.
Because it keeps changing.
And as soon as you get a vaccine, your body has to adjust to the immune system that's changing within your body. And that weakens you initially. That's what happened. Some people that get the vaccine get sick.
Well, they do, but then they're usually okay. But in the health system, we have to have it. You work with elderly and children, you've got no choice. You don't have the flu vaccine, you're out of a job.
David, because we have so many solar panels in Australia, second-hand panels are just so cheap. I could go on Gumtree, which is a bit like your, I don't know, Craigslist or something like that for buying and selling. I could pick up 3,000 watts of panels for about $400. That would include an inverter, not the batteries, of course. You're talking about an off-grid system. But you can buy batteries, telecommunication, 100 amp batteries for about $100. So you can set up a big solar system out in the bush here, be self-sufficient for very little, under $1,500. You'd have at least 3,000 watts, if not more. Well, that's what it does. One of the things that happens when somebody actually has had the vaccine, but comes in contact with the flu virus, it eventually will dissipate and die if that particular vaccine is for that particular flu. But if it's not, what happens? The virus goes through the body still, makes you sick, but the virus changes to suit its environment. It's an organism. And when you shake someone else's hand, immunologists tell me this, I'm not making it up, what happens is sometimes someone that's been partially sick passes on a new virus to someone else, slightly genetically changed, because the virus wants to survive.
And the cough that a lot of people are suffering, they're calling it the 100-day cough. Because that's apparently how long it can last if you get it.
Yeah, they're the sort of ones, you know, the ones that I get here. I've had solar for a long time. I haven't got it here, but we will have a really good solar setup here. But the batteries I used to use were tower batteries. In Australia, they replace them every 18 months, and yet they've got a lifespan of about 15 years. So I knew someone who used to dismantle, and he'd get them and sell them to me, and I put other people in contact with him, and he'd make a few bucks on the side. But I got 2,000 amps of batteries for $2,000. And I end up selling them for $2,000 years later. They're still working fine. But you need, I've always said, David, if you do a setup, and I've done this many years, mate, don't have one setup. What I'm saying is have backup. In other words, say you've got a split system, which you can even break down into 3 systems. You can have a system just for your lighting. You can have a system dedicated to heavy drawn appliances like small air conditioners, if you like. I set one up on 800 watts and 600 amps of batteries for a half horsepower air conditioner, and it worked all summer, no problem. But it was a dedicated system. Why I say have more than one system is that it's a fail-safe. If your main system cuts out, you can take 2 batteries off, maybe only use one to replace the damaged or weak battery in your main system, and you just shorten the power in your second system. Yeah, look, I'll be honest. I mean, if you can afford to get a lithium battery, and I would believe by about now, after many years of Prius being around, there are going to be batteries coming off cars that are massive. We're talking 7 to 10 kilowatts of battery power. Now, if they're only 60, 70% efficient, it still gives you, out of a 10 kilowatt, say 6. Yeah, I did 3. I always had 3. And it just worked out real well. I did have failure on one system, and as you know, you couple up, so you don't take just one battery out, you take 2 and relink, and then you've still got a system, but less powerful. But then I use one of the other batteries for my main system. So, and then until you source other batteries. But it's not infinite. Solar systems, the research I've done is the standard solar panels from 10 years ago, they say there's a 20-year lifespan. There's probably a 40-year lifespan, David, in reality. Less capacity, I would agree, but still powerful enough to run an off-grid system. But I love doing it. I had to keep paying for a period of time the reading bill, you know, when they read the electricity. And every bill I got, the guy came up to me one day, he says, "You don't use any electricity, what's going on?" So I took him out the back. He said, he said, "You know they still charge you for the reading fee." I said, "I know by law I can't get away with it. You just can't. It's a service that they'll send around and check your power, but you're not using anything."
Let's go and check that more.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many good new batteries, different technologies too, not just lithium. But lithium is one of the better systems for sure. But they're not cheap. But I would, if I was in the US and I could pick up second-hand Prius batteries for $1,000, and I'm going to get at least 6 kilowatt of power. I don't know about you, but you'd be a bit like me. You'd be fairly frugal with your electricity. I wouldn't use more than 10 kilowatt of power a day, less most days. But if you've got, let's say you've only got a 5 kilowatt system, you only need 2 hours of sunlight to run your system. But the fact is, you don't even need the direct sun. It's light that powers solar panels. People think it's the sun. It is, but it doesn't have to be direct. Plants are the same. Plants just need light. But having a solar system that you're independent from the grid just gives you an enormous boost. Electricity prices here, JP would tell you, they're horrendous in Australia. They are horrendous. So having a solar system is where everyone's going here. My neighbour's probably got 5 kilowatt on his roof. I'm probably going to have about 8. and I'm going to have batteries, lithium. But there's so many brands now. You're not stuck to having a Tesla battery at all. Yeah, do you know what you pay? I don't know how much. Do you pay every 2 months, or is it 3 months where you are, JP? What do you pay? What was our last electricity bill? 90? 60? Can't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
About 60, I think, our last electricity bill for 2 months. So it's a lot of money. That's $200 a month. If you just halved that, you'd pay for your solar system within 2 years. Now, I always say that if people are thinking about it, but they're also thinking about maybe moving in a few years, don't do anything. You're not going to get any more money for your home with solar panels on in Australia. Maybe in a different country, but not here.
Man, the cats are busy tonight, aren't they?
They are. They're all fired up. Yeah, but that would include part payment for your rates as well. We get that too, JP.
Paid your
Sewage.
Our water isn't that much.
No, but your quarterly fees are. It pays for your rates. I will eventually definitely be getting a rainwater tank. We love rainwater. Not only is it free, but it tastes good. Yeah, that's right. Ours is a bit cheaper than yours. Sydney's just horrendous for rates. Try to work out what are our rates for the year. I think our total rates are about 4K. I think 3.5, 4K. Yeah. And I know Sydney is a lot more.
Queensland. No, I don't know. Melbourne.
Yeah, see, that's a lot of money. Yeah, that's just land rates you're talking about. Then you got your sewer rates with your water. We get two types here, it's land and sewer. It'll be probably at the end of the year, I'll be getting the solar installed and we won't be paying electricity bills. I probably will be paying the reading fee like I did before, but I won't be paying any electricity. And I'll be running during summer air conditioning and in winter reverse cycle heating. But we do our air conditioner in our home, other than the main area, which is going to be kitchen, dining and lounge, that will have a fairly big air conditioner, reverse cycle. Every other room will have its own reverse cycle, and it's only used while someone's in there.
Oh, you can get ducted ones where you have zones, so you can turn it off.
Yeah, but it's not as efficient as having an independent.
Yeah, you reckon?
Mm. Well, particularly because we're going full solar, you're looking at it only drawing, say, for the bedroom at night time, an air conditioner. That's it, one air conditioner, instead of having a ducted system where it's all on.
Yeah.
You're only dealing with one room. Would you like my pet poopy? No, thank you. But thank you for asking. We do appreciate the gift that was offered, even though we don't have to accept it.
What?
Well, electricity prices are going to go berserk in the next 5 years, trust me. It's going to be staggering, the increases you get. Americans don't understand generally, I'm sure some of you do, the subsidies that you are given without even you knowing. Your fuel subsidy takes 1/3 of the fuel price off, or gas price off, that you pay. You only got to cross into the border into Canada, or come to Australia, where I pay $1.65 a litre. Very high in the US. I think you're slightly higher than us, Lynn. But if you can be independent like Dave's striving to do for your power needs, you've got control. Will you have the odd failure? Yeah, that'll happen. But you'll work a way around it. The only thing I would suggest is buy good inverters for sure, and fuse everything that moves. Yeah, I think it was about, like I use the 98 in my car, and that's about $1.60. I think in the UK, converting the pounds into dollars, it was about 2.30. So another third on top of what we pay here. And people in the UK drive a lot. I mean, they've got to go round in bloody circles on their highways. I mean, I don't drive as much as I used to. Yeah, natural gas. We've got tons of the stuff here. Gas is cheap here. So I need to get friendly with an electrician when I find the money for solar.
Yep.
Well, if you're smart, you'll shop around. Prices of solar panels. I bought my first one just at the turn of this century. It was 100 watt for $800. I kid you not. That is only 19 years ago, but I paid $800 for a 100 watt panel. Yeah. Yeah, diesel's still slightly cheaper than the top end petrol for sure. But like I said, I don't drive as much. I mean, I drove across Australia recently, so there's 5,000 kilometres, but I would be lucky to do more than, because we work from home, we go to the shop nearly every day during the week, don't we? Not so much on the weekend. So about 5 days a week, I travel about 5 kilometres. So I wouldn't do any more than 150 kilometres a month. Why does the power go out? Well, anyone installing an off-grid system, I encourage them. 2 things. If you have to, put 3 or 4 earth rods around the place. Connect up a connector bar so all your items are definitely earthed. You only need 1 lightning strike and you can lose a lot of equipment for sure. Yeah, I mean, I built my first 2 homesteads amongst friends. In other words, I helped them put their roof on. They helped me put my roof on. I helped fit out and tile someone's place. They come and help me. That's how it used to work. No one does that anymore.
Well, I'm going to go inside.
Yep, I'm about to call it quits for the night.
It's awesome.
I'd be interested if you get a chance in the future, David, if you wish to. You don't have to put it in the public, but I'd like to see a video of how things are going with you. I'm always interested in stuff like that. You don't have to make it public. And I'm not going to criticise or anything like that. I'm just interested. Just like, I mean, we used to have neighbours next to us and get a tap on the window. It happened a couple of times. You go, yeah, come in. How come you got power and we haven't got power? I said, well, maybe you didn't pay your power bill. No, we always pay our power bill. Remember when Chris and Andy came over?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I said, well, come over here and I'll show you something.
Yeah.
He said, oh. He said, do you use the grid power? I said, no, we don't. So the autonomy. The thing is, the only house in the street that used to have its lights on was mine when there was a power failure, because I didn't have a power failure. I use LED lighting. And if you've got areas you want to lighten up, Dave, those little, I think they're about 12, 15 feet long strip lighting, LEDs.
Yeah, they were good.
They're really good. Connect them to a dimmer if you like. And you can run them. I always ran my system on 24 volt system. I'm sure you are as well. 12 volt is very hard. You've got thicker cables involved. 24 volts far more efficient. You can go to 48 and go even higher if you want to.
You've got all those videos on your channel somewhere.
Some, I didn't show a lot.
No.
That's good. I tell you what I'm impressed with for campers and RVs is those stick-on solar panels that have become popular here in Australia. You don't even see the solar panels on the RVs, but they've got like 400 or 500 watts on the roof. You know, 4 or 5 batteries and a little cabinet inside the RV, inverters, and they're out in the middle of nowhere and they've got their lights going. It's just a great feeling when you've done it, and as you know, even with your camper, you've got autonomy. You don't need to hook up to anything. You've got gas to cook on, electricity to charge everything you need, and lights, you're set. Yeah, I was waiting for that to come up, Sids. Yes, I do have a 12-volt shower, but that was an independent battery.
That video is all yours, Sids.
It's like you can make everything efficient with solar. It's not like the old days where you had to pay so much for such equipment. I will actually do it. I'll make a video of the prices of second-hand systems that are going, 4,000 watt systems with inverters for $500. We have so much solar in Australia that everyone is upgrading now from their 3 or 4 kilowatt systems to 8 and 10. Careful now, Sids. I'll have to do another one. All right, Len, you have a good day, love. We're going to shoot off anyway. Good to catch up with all of you.
Is Awesome going to open up?
Oh, I got it close up. All we see is your beak. There we go.
Oh, don't show my big nose.
I didn't have a choice. I had it zoomed in on the chicken.
Did you put it out on the chicken?
What's Awesome doing?
Is she going to open the hangout?
All right. Are you going to open a hangout, Awesome?
Just not.
Or are you and David going to open a hangout?
Oh, where are we?
Yeah.
Not Awesome.
Oh, look, JP, for your beauty sleep, you'd have to get at least 15 minutes in, I'd reckon.
Oh, you don't need beauty sleep, JP. Come on.
Beaks, yep. So I imagine Awesome will be opening a hangout shortly. Opening a hangout.
Awesome.
If you can drop a link into the side chat so the people we do have can go over there, so you and David can be on the panel.
I'm looking for Awesome. Okay, in 15 minutes. All right. Everybody knows Awesome's channel.
All right, guys, I'm pretty sure she'll open one up, so you all have a great day.
In 15 minutes, she said.
All right. Okay, people, it's good night from the one who must be obeyed.
Yes, just remember that.
And it's good night for me. Have a great day, wherever you are.
Kiss, love you all. Kiss, kiss. Love yous all. You too, you say it.
I like you, all right? If I love you, your ears will be flapping.